ability. But hey, they might just want to come out swinging again and hope that they win the swinging match this time, you know? So we are going to see as we jump in here for draft for game number 2. Homeboys flipping sides. Deus VULT here will be on the red. So Minotaur already taken out here. G, what are you thinking here? Since it's Deus VULT, I mean, Homeboys already got that game 1. Like, what do you see them that they need to change up here?
Yeah, and I feel like they just need to break the momentum that Homeboys has, right? Like when they get on a roll, like the roll is strong. So I think DEUS VULT has to come back to it. Just take a step back. Think about more controlling heroes. Really didn't have much CC on the side of DEUS VULT, and Homeboys took advantage of that. And picking the Diggy early on, I think was a little bit of a problematic, because then that just allowed Homeboys to go full damage instead of CC. Like they didn't even care about the Diggy at that point. So I think it's all about when you're picking these certain heroes and what you want to go with. But I do think DEUS VULT need a little bit more control, kind of like how Homeboys brought to the field. I mean, it was just a good read by Homeboys, a good response by Homeboys in that first match. But this is now match point, right? Now DEUS VULT has to sit down and think about that.
It's like, is this the point where if you're Deus VULT, you pull out something a little risque, you know, a little risky. risque. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like, do you go that route because match point, man? And you know that I mean, Homeboys is the same way. That's kind of the scary thing about it. You know, they've done that before in the past too. But I think if you're Deus VULT, since we're talking about how they can stay in the series and get it to a game 3, it's like, again, you want to be able to match up with Chibi. You want to be able to not let Nets do what he did the previous game. If that means even taking the Claude from him, then maybe take it. Maybe take the Bruno. We saw that matchup so much, man, in M5, where it was like Bruno Claude, Bruno Brody, Bruno this, you know. We saw that often. So it's like, I think you need to, for Hiko anyway, again, did pretty good on the Brody, but I think you really want to allow Hiko to have a comfortable kind of transition from that early to mid game. And that might just mean take that pick, take that Bruno, take that Claude, if you will, and then build around that, right? Now, Homeboy is going to be that first pick. This will tell a lot of kind of the tempo that they want to set, right? And the fact, too, that we see a lot open here that we've seen picked up or banned out from the group stages even. I'm not sure if Homeboys actually wants to lock in CC that has been picked up quite a bit, if they want to go that route, but we'll see.
Yeah, and one thing I do see that is open is the Guinevere, right? Homeboys executed the Guinevere so well.
Yeah.
Do they opt to pick that up once again as the first pick, right? And they do. I had a feeling that this was the case. DEUS VULT actually utilized the Guinevere quite a bit throughout a lot of their other series, and it was one of the decision factors on their wins. So it's kind of like, instead of banning it, let's take it because we can also utilize it too. Good response. I want to see what DEUS VULT's gonna do to fix that, and I think that's kind of what they initially suspected the Diggy play would have done, is to counter the Guinevere. But I think Homeboy's positioning was just amazing. They came to fight and they fought, and these two picks, I think, the CC.
There it is.
All right.
Yep.
All right. It definitely wasn't bad in the last game.
Yeah, it wasn't, right? I mean, if it's open, you accomplish what you wanted to do in terms of Kid Bomba individually, and I think you might as well pick it up. And then you also now have the Valentina. This kind of, again, it allows you to, this is by the way also like a great pick for Sunset Lover in general, because he had great performances on this even last year. So with that, it's like you kind of force Homeboys in this situation. This is why I always like Valentina, because it forces your opposing team to really depend on what ultimates do we want to give up? Like, what ultimates are we okay giving to the Valentina? And you'll see some teams actually play around that to the point where they draft, and then when they're actually in the game, they purposely keep those ultimates away with positioning, right, to the Valentina. Like, they make it very difficult to get there. And interestingly enough, from Homeboys, we're going to see Harith, who is banned out constantly, by the way. And then, of course, we have the Aurora popping up.
That I was thinking about it during the first ban phase.
There's a whole lot of magic damage, by the way.
It is a whole lot of magic damage, but I think sometimes it could be the key. It could be the key, right? Because the Claude's still open, right? Maybe the Bruno pick was to, maybe force out the Claude. Again, Homeboys looking like they're going for a little bit of a squishier approach again, but from the side of DEUS VULTs, we still don't see CC. We still don't see control, and I think that's something we need to see from them. Homeboys looking to just be so aggressive. They're ready to, again, I like the Aurora. It gives you that control. They have already have 2 crowd controls right there. You got the Guinevere, the Requiem, you got the Glacier, and then you're also going to have the sustainability behind the Harith, right? And sometimes that can force teams to build anti-magic and leave open these other 2 physical heroes. So I kind of want to see what Homeboys picks in their jungle, and if what the EXP lane could possibly be. We do see some bans coming out. Getting rid of the Thamus could be a good frontal aspect for Homeboys, and could be a pain for the CC to fight. And I think that's ultimately why they banned that. And then the Tigreal, I like it. I like the ban.
I like it. Every time I see the Tigreal now, I just think of the KDA machine, man. The 5-man's head, like that. Now that I see that, and I was watching that, like, whew, it's worth it to take out the Tigreal. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you see some amazing set potentials, obviously, with it, even if it's not a 5-man set. Like, it's still a very big threat. And I'm also kind of wondering exactly what do we see Homeboys do with these first 3 picks that they have, because yeah, it's a lot of magic damage, that's true, and you want to kind of even this damage distribution out, so you kind of, that leads you to the table of, yeah, what do we pick up for that, right? How do we deal with that? And I think DEUS VULT, on the other hand, they're thinking that too. They're focusing on some of those XP picks that could have popped up. Lapu Lapu has been shining for months now, like in the XP lane, a very playmaker heavy hero. Now that that's taken out, the Thamus was taken out as well. What do we see possibly going in the XP lane?
Yeah, I mean, right now the possibilities could be like Yuzong. We could see a Black Dragon come out. I feel like that would be a good possibility. That's the dive you need to be able to take out a Bruno. Getting into that backline, CC in that.
How you feel about Arlot XP?
Arlot XP. That is also something that's been quite wild too, right? Nice too, is that we haven't seen Arlot at all, and the whole time we've been casting. So
yeah, I mean, he's been banned out I think he's been banned out once or twice today so far.
He was banned out all in the first series. That is correct. That is true. So that's why we didn't see him there, but we're not seeing him here. So Arlot could be that. The final slash is what I think DEUS VULTs would definitely need to utilize. That's some solid CC.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Okay. They're gonna pick that up.
It's a good counter.
Get it. Yep.
It's a good counter to the Harith's like sustainability, right? That
it's a smart
anti-heal.
choice. I mean, for all 3 of those, like technically, even for the Guinevere, in essence, like depending on the build path and whatnot, like it's a smart pick from DEUS VULT. I like the Baksha. We talked about it too. They need a little bit of that durability, so they're going to have that available to them. And realistically, like I said, you really want to just allow Hiko to farm up, like be the turret destroyer here on this Bruno. Focus on opening up the map for your team to work with, which works great for a Baksha, right? Opening up the map for him. There's the Benedetta locked in. So if, we're talking about physical damage, this is some physical damage. And they pair it up with an Edith. Wow, it's been a while.
That's a lot of magic damage. Maybe they're relying on the Benedetta's physical. That is crazy.
It's a lot, but
maybe it's much for DEUS VULTs. Angela, okay. What is this game? Now you see, you asked for some wild, risky plays.
Risque.
Risque. You gotta give it with some emphasis, you know, like some head smack.
Risque. There you go. Hey, it worked, but you really want to be able to set the tempo yourself if you're DEUS VULT here. And I think based on what we saw from game 1, the work's going to be cut out for them. But if they can deal with all this early magic damage, we'll see how it goes. We're jumping into the Land of Dawn. Game number 2 here. Match point. Once again, Homeboys against DEUS VULT. One of these teams will be going home today. Can DEUS VULT extend the series to game number 3, holding on to the tournament lives as they get us situated?
I'm a little confused because it's already starting out at 60 seconds 2-0.
Yeah, that's...
Wow, it looks like Solo and maybe Sunset Lever in the intro died. And Homeboys took advantage of that. I guess that could be the early aggressions between the Aurora and the Edith combo. That's something you don't see very often.
Because the Petrify was down too. So, you know, as I was waiting to load in, action happened, man. So, you know, the Petrify was utilized. Sapad gets that kill. It goes to Udil. This is scary. Like, if you're DEUS VULT, man, because kills in that department on those heroes is deadly. And with that, they're going to go ahead and put a little bit of pressure here in the mid lane. Zoran, though, quite tanky himself. There's the knock up into the Requiem. They go. Magister are going to be in trouble. He can't even play. Gets taken out of the picture. CC upon CC.
And again, I think that just builds onto what I was talking about in the draft, is that DEUS VULT kind of lacking that CC at this point. I think it's kind of the... What does Sunset Lover steal with the Valentina, right? Like the big things that they have available are gonna be, you know, the Frigid Glacier, I mean, the Violet Requiem, but look at this damage, my God.
Yeah, you gotta be able to respect damage this early on. This is kind of what we were talking about with the overloaded magic damage potential early game. It's so far quite deadly, and that's the best start that they could have so far. Turtle's still going to go through these resets. Sunset Lever holding on to this ultimate for now. With that Edith there still, Kid Bowman going to be the focus. Using the Vengeance already, still wants to fight it out. Jumping in with the Electro Final Blow, looking for the target. Goes in, Setbot's going to fall. Now Chibi's going to be the next one. Still battling it out. Now clapping back here. DEUS VULT looking for a couple kills themselves. Kid Bomba going to be the one to fall in now. Udil in trouble. So there's some bite back here. Now body after body going to fall. DEUS VULT looking to take the objective though.
I just want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I heard the crowd go absolutely wild there. Oh, what?
Wow.
How did he... Yo, I'm speechless. The turtle stolen by Homeboy CPAT. That is... There's just... What? Magister, what happened? Where'd your retry go?
Maybe, you know, he just wasn't expecting it. I don't know, but that's a play right there for Homeboys. Now, given that whole sequence, how that kind of unfolded, right? DEUS VULT showing that they definitely have fight in them early on. Still, once again, they have to deal with the early damage potential, magic damage. You can already see, too, big items being picked up here. They got the Starlium Scythe already on nets. He's got that available to him. You pair it up the fact that Udil picked up the Genius Wand. So it's a little troublesome in terms of now we even have to deal with more burst or more, you know, our magic resistance being reduced in some of these team fights. And so they really got to be careful how they play around it. Magister there, he gets the Heart Guard, still going to be working on it. There's the Glacier. Udil going to be the one in trouble though. Sapad on the backside goes in with a collectible final blow. Going to be able to find Magister. He's the one to fall. Sawo as well. DEUS VULT biting off a little too much there.
That, again, I think DEUS VULT, that letting that escape with 1 HP will just nasty, right? They have to watch out for that. Kind of taking a look at some of the items. When you see the Hawes Claws being picked up by the Bruno at this point, I think that the sustainability that they need, CC picking up the Brute Force early on, It doesn't seem like they're too worried about magic damage yet, as well as, you know, boots haven't been completed yet, but the pressure.
Hiko gonna be in trouble. That's the power of this Harif pick and why we see it banned out so often. Also an early Starlium Scythe locked in on the item. Sao gonna be in trouble now. 3 members here on the top side. Can't get out of it. Magister a little bit too late. Udil here as well. Sunset Lover and Magister trying to hold down the turret. Turtle now up though. Homeboys furthering the gold lead. Nearly at 4,000 ahead here against DEUS VULT.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to be getting into the next turtle here. DEUS VULTs really need to stop this snowball that's happening by Homeboys.
Still going to be trying it. Udil going to be in trouble. Has the passive available, though, but won't be able to get out as he falls. Hiko picks up the kill. DEUS VULT now eyes on this turtle. Chibi trying to keep up that front side. Sapat as well, trying to zone them out. Do they want to give this up? Do they want to fight for it? Chibi still going. Magister gonna get zoned down a little bit. Onward, not gonna be able to connect. Chibi gets the turtle. Flicker comes through. Gets out of there. So right now, Homeboys happy with the objective. Chibi gonna jump in into the lethal final blow. They go under the turret. Sepot still alive. They find Kid Bomba in the brush.
This is just speechless right now. Homeboys executing everything perfectly, and we can already see another clash.
Oh, Hiko can't withstand the damage. The Glacier gonna come down, won't be able to find Sunset Lover. Meanwhile, Magister now trying to get away from this, gets the Heart Guard. Still gonna be going. Chibi jumps in, stops them from going, but they're not gonna get more. So Pot with a big item pickup here as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like Homeboys going to take possibly this mid turret. They're zoning them out. Homeboys have to keep this snowball up.
Oh, this could be. They still get the turret. They're going to be happening with that. Chibi still wants to be able to fight, though. Sunset Lover! The damage is too much to deal with. Now Sapat here against Magister. Does he want to go for the kill? Going to jump in. Still goes for it. Has to use the retry to get away. Will be fine. Homeboys, though, pushing on the gas here.
I mean, they are definitely pushing DEUS VULTs against the wall. DEUS VULTs at this point really need to kind of step back, and I don't know what could possibly be stopping them from missing the retry, but Kid Bomba!
Wow. Even with the vengeance, it doesn't matter, G.
It doesn't. And look at this.
Chibi still wants more. Magister the target. The rest of the team going to try to help him out. Hard Guard going to come through. Still going to be fighting. There's the Glacier coming down, even with it all. He will be fine. The fight for the resources, though. Chibi knows it. They already got the Hard Guard dealt with. Still going to be putting the pressure once again on this side of the map of DEUS VULT. Divine Glaive as well, picked up for Udil. If there wasn't enough magic damage, it's even more deadly now.
It is, and they're already zoning out for the First Lord. Homeboys controlling a bit of the map. Oh my God, CPAT into the top lane, taking out Hiko.
Oh, still gonna be going. Once again, Magister, the flicker from Zorn. Looking for more though, the pressure is there. Now Sunset Lover gonna be the one in trouble. 3 members are gone, make it 4 for DEUS VULT. It's only Sao. This is dire for DEUS VULT as Homeboys now makes the way for the Lord. First one of the game, and Sapat will continue to push the top side.
You said risky, we got risky. Not only did we get risky, we got major aggression by Homeboys. The snowball effect is engaged, and we can see DEUS VULTs. They need to find a response. They keep going in and testing Homeboys, and they're, again, I think it's gonna come back to that they're gonna have to mount up a great defense. They do have the ability to do that, right? Kid Bomba, though, being farmed up alongside Magister, mid-game coming in, we could see a little bit of a scaling happening by DEUS VULTs as they are securing a bit of the magic resistance that they need against this magic-heavy team that Homeboys has. Lord kind of rumbling down in the land of Dawn. How is DEUS VULTs going to respond to such an aggressive attack?
Tough for them to deal with. Look at the backside. Sapon gonna jump in. Got a little aggressive there. Ends up falling. 1 versus 3. Was trying to just put the pressure. Still, Lord going to be making its way top side right now. DEUS VULT full force, 5-man, gonna try to defend this. Still, does HOMEBOIS actually want to continue to press this situation here? It looks like they won't. Again, even though Sapat went down, they still got a little more space to work with around the map based off that first Lord push, but ultimately not able to get any more damage on these base turrets.
I like this, right? HOMEBOIS not forgetting that they didn't get the tunnel vision. This is what we see from a lot of teams, is that when that first Lord is secured, and again, I mean, CPAT had a little bit of tunnel vision there and did go a little bit too deep and paid for it. But again, the whole team didn't get tunnel vision. We do see a little bit of a resource fight here. All of DEUS VULTs here.
Gonna use that electro final blow once again. Sapat trying to focus down Sunset Level. We'll be able to get him. Hiko falls as well. 2 down for DEUS VULT. Still gonna be fighting Magister, trying to get out from Nets. Still alive though. Quite tanky himself. Kid Bomba, the next target. 3 members of DEUS VULT hold on the force from HOMEBOIS. Knocking on the base now. Mid turret gonna be the focus. It falls. Now the top side, the focus for HOMEBOIS. Will eventually get this as well. DEUS VULT, couple more seconds. Their full team will be back here. But Lord up in 30. What can DEUS VULT do here? Gee, they're almost 9,000 behind.
I mean, I think they've just been making mistake after mistake, kind of leaving the comfort of their base is what HOMEBOIS wanted, and they just fell right into their grasp. Right now, I mean, if they could possibly get an easy pick, that might be where it's at, but it's the snowball effect on HOMEBOIS is just a little bit too much. I think if they attempt to engage for this Lord, they might pay for it. And I think that DEUS VULT needs to stay passive, but again, they're being a little risky, and this might be the only chance that they have for this Lord, as it is going to be the second one. So I think it's reached its enhance point. They waited they waited past that 12-minute mark, and DEUS VULT's definitely opting to stay back at the base again. I think the only thing they can do at this point is turtle up, hope for a decent play. Maybe Sunset Lover able to get the Frigid Glacier from Udall here, and that might be that might allow them to stop a huge push. But I think that's about the only thing they can grasp for at this point.
Man, and with that, again, we've seen this so far, even in the previous series, right? When you're down this much gold, it gets very tough, right, for the team that's down nearly 10,000 gold at this point. Kind of at the whims, once again, of the set potential from HOMEBOIS. So DEUS VULT,
the lanes
how do they pull this through? Once again, lanes are synced. Lord in the mid, still going to be going. Heart Guard's going to be there to find the connection in the backside. Magister's going to get taken down easily, though. Sapat on the backside finds Hiko, takes him out of the picture, and they are going to do it just like that. HOMEBOIS takes the entire team out. It's a wipeout. It's a triple for Nets, and they'll take this series in a sweep. They send DEUS VULT out of the tournament here, 2-0.
Wow. HOMEBOIS showing DEUS VULT tried their best, but HOMEBOIS seemed like they wanted it a little bit more.
Man, HOMEBOIS, they're super clean. You know,
I mean, it's speechless.
Yeah, it's a very clean performance, like from game 1 to game 2, just like we saw, you know, in the previous series, man. So it's very very incredible to see that kind of improvement, if you will, in their play style. And of course, you know, for DEUS VULT, they're not going to be happy about that. It was very tough to have that kind of loss here. Of course, you know, even on the stage, and they're here in very familiar territory, and it's tough to see that, because really when you talk about this matchup, the fact that they played against each other in M5, you know, and how that was, it's tough to see, like, where did it go wrong here for DEUS VULT in these games. And I'm sure if you go back and watch, and a lot of you guys currently were watching that game, it's like, you know, what do you take from this? As we take a look at the highlights here, the fact that this lineup is a very unique lineup from HOMEBOIS, by the way. Like, this is not something that you would see every game. It's one of those, like, I would say almost a niche lineup where it's like, it's very magic damage department heavy. And not only that, but you're thinking, we're just going for all the damage. We also pick up the Benedetta, and like we throw that physical damage dealer in there, and it makes for some crazy burst potential early on.
Yeah, and it was just, I think, well executed by Homeboys, you know, and I think DEUS VULTs, I'm not quite sure what they wanted to achieve. They pulled out the, you know, the Baxia Angela combo to hope to sustain against a heavy comp as Homeboys, and they even confidently picked the Angela, but Homeboys just taking advantage of everything. Their damage was way too much. They had a lot of crowd control for DEUS VULTs to deal with, and then not only that, it was just well executed by the whole team. They kept forcing DEUS VULTs out, and DEUS VULTs just fell into Homeboys' hands. And again, it was just the clutch moments by the whole team. Homeboys they just kept collapsing down onto DEUS VULTs, and they were trying to find responses left and right, even with this final Lord push. If I'm not mistaken, I think I seen a Frigid Glacier stolen by Sunset Lover, but they just, again, you can see a little bit of that overextend to try to keep the Lord away from the base. It just wasn't enough as Homeboys were snowballing at such a heavy level. And again, it was a crazy match. I think it was risky on Homeboy's side, but it played to their advantage. And you know, most of the times, most of the plays, we started off in the very beginning through a cutscene, already 2-0. Like the aggression by Homeboys was crazy. This was, like you were stating, it was like a revenge match for what happened in M5. And man, once again, Nets.
Once again, 8-0-6, man. And you know, when he picked up that early Starlium Scythe, like it was gonna be deadly. And I love that interaction. I always like when teams do this, when they go with kind of like this magic centric early damage lineup. Usually you have some concept of Starlium Scythe is gonna be picked up by one, the Genius Wand is gonna be picked up by the other, and then you're really like trying to, you know, win these early skirmishes that way, like pumping out the magic damage early on, because even if a team tries to build some magic resistance early on, it's usually, you know, reduced, obviously. So with that whole interaction, and then the Harith, who we've seen banned out quite a bit, like there's a reason for that, right? I mean, gee, like it was deadly, and that's kind of what we saw here. So again, congratulations to Nets. Once again, getting an MVP performance. And just overall, I love what Homeboys did. So, you know, congratulations to this lineup specifically on a very interesting kind of approach to that game.
Yeah, I think it just ultimately goes to show that the versatility of these teams can be anything. I mean, Benedetta coming into the game, even paired with an Edith, right? Like, I think that this tournament, again, I said it earlier, it's building the foundation of how crazy MLBB is going to be getting with the current meta. Like, it's not as easy to anticipate drafts anymore. And it goes, again, they were just 50-50 in the very first round, but it was crazy that coming into the second round, I think it was just the momentum Homeboys built into that first round, and then securing the win against someone like DEUS VULT.